Hi, I'm Elemi from Yeyeobotanica. Welcome back. Where are my pretty people? I'm gonna wait till at least one person comes in. The video's private. You guys are killing me. Oh, here we are. It's not private. Here are my people. Hi, I'm Elemi from Yeyeobotanica. We're going to try this again. They're not going to get us. Mercury Retrograde is going to work in our favor. So we've got three people in, and so it makes me wonder if we're the only three people that are here. Now we have two people. So are these viewers or are they us? Oh, great. So I'm Elemi from www.Yeyeobotanica. So we had some technical difficulties, but we're here still and we're still at it. You know, life is filled with so many quirky things that happen all the time. So why not with us? Why not today? So welcome back, my lovely people. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. We're trying it again. You know, I got a new phone and I'm like, new technology, got to figure that one out. So welcome back. For those of you guys that are new with me, and those who have been hanging in with me, subscribers to our channel, welcome back. Thank you so much for all of your support. Again, we're Yeyeo Botanica, and we are a spiritual and wellness supplier, which is why I do videos about all things spiritual. You guys have had some wonderful comments. I want to welcome all my people from all over, but I want to shout out an area that I have not shouted out before. I want to welcome my people from Poland. Woo! Welcome. So today, oh, and I have someone who's very special from Egypt. So welcome and please share the word. So today I wanted to answer some of your questions. You guys are so hot on the question circuit. It's like, oh, Lemmy, I want to know about this and this and this and this. So today I wanted to take some time to try to answer some of your questions. I wanted to suggest that maybe we make private the previous one so people aren't trying to go to that one. Um, so I love to make videos and share information with you all. Spirit has told me that I need to continue to do this. Orisha has encouraged me. And so um, I'm really honored to always be with you and to share time and share space with you. And questions, a lot of times in my videos, as you all know, it's like, here's some information, here's some great work, do this, do this, do this, do this. And then you guys are like, WTF? This is a little bit complicated, some of these things. They're really not complicated, but if you're not used to you doing some of them, it can give you a lot of questions. And so the first thing I want to say for my new spiritualists, people who are new to doing spiritual work and things like that, sometimes don't overthink it. You need to, I always say in spiritual work, you know, sometimes you got to kind of go with your vibe. You know, if you kind of get a little bit perplexed with it, just kind of like, how can I go with this? How can I just feel it, right? Sometimes we're being spiritual and we're being too up here, right? It's good to find balance, right? So if you're in the moment of your work, your guides, your loved ones who love you that are spirit guides and or Orisha deities that you work with, they know your heart, right? They know your intentions. So if at some point you go, oh, is this going to work right? Oh, you're stressing yourself out. You're really not enjoying the work. So try to focus on just being in the moment of your intention. Remember, I told you guys one of the favorite things that are said in my house that I was taught to me by my husband. Intention is the essence of magic, right? You can be so intentional with meeting someone and go, oh, this is going to go so well, and it goes well, right? If we say, oh, this is going to suck, this is going to be horrible, what happens? It sucked and it's horrible, or we get a special surprise and we realize that we were really being negative. So I want to first say, when you're doing spiritual work, do it with the fullness of yourself, do it with enthusiasm, do it with the thought, this is going to work. This is going to work. Why? Because the divine is behind this. I'm doing this with good intentions. I'm doing this to empower myself, to help my life. So it's going to be successful. So let's see. I could be here all day reading you guys' comments. So the bread video, I have to say that I was traveling and I thought to myself, I have such a long list. I have such a long list of video topics. We could be here for the next 10 years, me making videos twice, three, four times a week, and I will never get tired of having material. I'm like an idea machine, right? So I was traveling and I came up with quite a few topics uh, of things to do. And so, Spirit and I are so tight, they're always giving me all this information. So I thought, hmm, it's always great to do things with things that are just so natural, things that you already know, right? Remember, I said intention is the essence of magic. And everything that we use in life, almost everything has a magical use, right? The source has put it here for us to use it in any way we can think of, right? It's funny. Um, I have a wooden table in front of me that the phone is on, and I could tell you guys all kinds of things to do with wood. What do we do with wood? We burn it. We make pencils out of it. We make crosses out of it. I mean, list goes on and on and on. So if anyone has great suggestions for just everyday item videos for me, send it to me. And so all the people who have their own video channel, YouTube channel, that are watching this, you can get one or two of my comments, one or two of the suggestions that my beautiful people are giving me, because I noticed we're seeing some of you guys comments in people's videos. So we welcome that, we praise that. Why? Because there's more than enough space for us to do all kinds of great things together. Remember, we're all about success, we're all about empowerment, we're all about moving forward. So that's what we're going to do. So the bread video, the reason why I did the bread video was I wanted to do something that everybody does. And anyone can do this work. People who are ordained priests can do this work. People who are beginners, people who are intermediate, anyone can do it. And so the impetus behind the bread video was very, very much around prosperity and abundance, right? I gave you beans. Well, what do they say in life? They say we you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. So, this is sowing something so wonderful, sowing abundance, sowing prosperity, sowing consistency in your life, and asking your guides to help you with that. So, quite a few people had all these different questions. What do we do with the bread? Where does the beans go? What about the candle? All of these different things. So, I'm going to answer some of those questions today because I noticed that people consistently are asking some of the similar questions, and people who watch the video in the beginning, they ask those questions, but now newer people who've been watching the channel, participating with us, are now asking some of the same questions. So I think that also, now that I think about it, at the bottom of the description, in the description of this video, I'm going to list some of the things that we covered. So, one of the questions that we have here is, how do I dispose of the bread? I'm going to tell you guys a little story about the bread. There was someone who had critters in their house, and the critters ate all the bread, ate a part of the beans, and left the money and left the petition behind. They were like, we're not going to eat that. That's not tasty. That doesn't have olive oil in it and no good stuff. Put another piece of bread and we'll eat that too. So I would say to you, um, just as a joke, well, people who know me personally know I'm always joking around. So the bread, what I do is I put the bread with all the fixings as I've showed you in the video. You can keep it in foil. You can just put it on a beautiful plate or an area on your altar. You can put it on a windowsill. You can do all those things, right? And once the bread gets hard, perfect. You don't need to do anything to it. But if the bread starts to become decomposed in some way or there's some issue with the bread, you can take all those items out, or you can just take the petition and the money out and throw it in the woods, throw it in the park, throw it in the crossroads, right? Um, so those are some ideas. You can also throw it in a body of water, but I personally wouldn't do that. I would prefer that you put it on soil, right? And then you can do it again. This is something that you can do over and over and over. I'm here to tell you that work works. It works very well because when your guides see the symbology of all these things that you're doing, thumbs up. What is that? What does that one say? I don't have my glasses on. So cute. Oh man, I missed that comment. It was very cute. All right. So the next one, what was another question that was asked about the bread video? The candle. You need to let that candle burn out. Every day you need to go. As long as that candle is burning, you need to go and make your petition. I would suggest that you know what you wrote on the paper, right? So that you can go back and say the same thing over and over and over again. Why? Because the squeaky wheel gets the oil. The spirit's like, oh, you back? Oh, you back with that comment? You're back asking me again? Oh, let me hear you. Let me hear you, right? If I ask you for something and I only ask you once and everybody else is asking, you're not going to remember what I asked you. But if I ask you every day, you're going to be like, oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. That squeaky wheel, I need to listen to that one, right? So repetition is very important when you're making petitions, not just for this, but remember this in general. So if you're doing the penny candles, as we call them, the candle that's the size of your finger, every day you can do that for a period of time. If you're a person that you're really not into burning candles very much, or you don't do that a lot, and you want to use a tall glass candle and you want to turn it off today, start it again, turn it off tomorrow, start it again. So as an example, if this is a glass candle that you choose to use, well, today maybe you burn this much, tomorrow you burn this much, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. But just remember this, you need to be really intentional with doing it. And so if you know that you're not going to be a person who's going to kind of be on it like that, then I would suggest that you just do the little small candles and you let it burn out safely, of course, and you do it again the next day. For a period of time, you can also fire it up after your 21 days, maybe a couple of weeks, you do it again, you do another one candle. Thank you. Or oh boy, you see this one? Um, you can do one of these per day, right? Versus doing the white one, the glass one, as I showed you before. Are there any other questions? What do you do with the money? Well, I answered that in a previous video, but the money is something that you would keep. You can put it at your altar. You can put it in a little frame. You can recirculate it. You can do my money magic video with that money, right? Keep using that money over and over and over in different ways. Just don't spend it, right? And it doesn't matter who you know. If they're having a hard day and a hard time and you feel like, oh, maybe I want to gift this to them. X, X, X. Why? Because you have put your Ashay into it. You've put your power into it. You've put your prayers in it for your benefit. And by you giving it to someone else, you're passing your luck on to them. Okay? How do you trust? That disappeared again. I'm not able to see all these comments so quickly.
How do you trust it when you're told that you need to be initiated?
Let's leave some of those videos. Maybe you want to write that down
Okay,
for me?
I'm writing
Thank
it
you.
down.
So, okay, so we did that question. We're going to do some freestyle questions from you guys also today, but I really wanted to also go through some of the video questions so that those of you guys who are on with us regularly, supporting us, you can say, oh, that video answers a whole bunch of questions, right? Because sometimes people share the channel with others and they start asking their friends questions. They can now you can go, oh, she answered some of your questions in that video. Um, It's okay. Sorry, that distracted me when I saw Yemoja on the screen. So the egg cleansing video. How long do I leave the egg for? What do I do with the egg and water afterwards? You throw the egg out. Again, you can take all four of the eggs. You can put it on a hill or a mound, like in a park or something like that. If you're not by things like that, I would say then you can just throw it away, or you can leave it out in the garbage by a school. And the water, you throw it out, right? So we answered that one. That was pretty quick. There are no more egg cleansing videos on, right? Okay. That's an altar question. Do you need to be initiated? We're gonna go back to those. I just want to answer the really quick ones very quickly. Why can manifestation take so long? That's a really good question. Can you or should you put an obituary on a spiritual altar? Okay, so we've got some altar ones. I want to just kind of peruse through really quickly. Can someone steal your Ashay? Fantastic question. Um, I have money, Tanya. I have money on my altar for Elegua. Do I leave the money at the altar or donate it? I think I just answered that question in a previous question when I said, don't give your luck away. Keep that money. Why? Because the deity is seeing you put it there and knows why it's there. You want to keep that money. That's not something to donate. Unless you have said when you put it there, when I get whatever it is that I've asked for, this will be what I give as a donation or a gift or something like that. Okay, very good question. So we have a question here that says, La Luna, can a cleansing bath go over your head or just your body? In all actuality, cleansing baths are supposed to go over your head. However, many people have different types of ordinations and different types of spiritual rites that they've been through. And certain spiritual rites, there's certain herbs that should not touch the head once you've gone through those rites, or you should have some instructions on the types of herbs that you're using and them going on your head. Generally speaking, white baths, very mild baths that you can give to children and things like that, you're more than welcome to put it on your head. I would have to say the white element, perfect for the head. But when you start getting into things that are dark, go away evil, banishing, blah, 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 unless you are having major, major, major spiritual issues, it should not go on the head. There are times when it does go on the head, but I would say when in doubt, do without, right? So, as an example, a lot of us ladies don't like to get our hair wet. So, do it from your forehead down, back of the neck down. And if you want to just put a little bit of essence, that's fine. But I would say If it's something very harsh, don't put it on your head, right? When in doubt, do without, right? Or check it out if you know how to check it out, because some of you guys watched my pendulum video, and so maybe your pendulum can answer that one simple question, right? Okay, so these are a little bit longer. Any other simple? I want to answer some of the shorter answers really quickly.
There's a Mercury retrograde question if you can do work in Mercury retrograde.
Mercury retrograde. New assistant healing and grieving. Can we virtual tour? Oh, yes, we can have, I have a video, and it is a tour of the Botanica. I have so much material, we have to put that out. But you know what? I think maybe one day I will do a live, and that I think is a great suggestion. We'll just do a live where we walk around the Botanica together and I show you some real goodies, tell you the things I like to use, you know, spend some time together. I love that suggestion. And if other people would like me to do a virtual tour as a live, comment for me because all your comments, I put them on a list and I just start working through them, right?
A lot of people are asking about Yemaya in the background.
Yeah, I love her. So, I'm not really sure how to talk about that around the question answer thing.
They just keep asking and give her a shout out in the background after she
Shout
talks
out to
about her.
Yemaya, Oshun, Shango. We have Francisco and Francisca down here. My Llamadama, she's here. Well, she's over there. But let's see who else is back here that they would enjoy looking at. Oh, so I have the big version to her, not to get too distracted. Loving my red. And mine is like 3 feet tall, the one that's in the Botanica. I did a little reel on her, so I'm definitely gonna share that with you guys. But for those of you, this is Lamadama, the archetype of the grandmother, the senior elder, female, and so on. And I did a video on how to prepare a broom for her. I did 2 videos on how to service her. She comes in white and red, blue and white, yellow and white, gold and white. All right. Oh my goodness, we're getting distracted, you guys. We're here for a limited amount of time. We're getting distracted. We could be spending so much time together. This is another manifestation. This is Saint Barbara, right? So for people who are into Orisha tradition, this is synchronization or syncretization at its best. This is Shango. This is Saint Barbara. This is how it was when the tradition first came into the New World, and now we've learned the difference. This is Catholicism. This is Yoruba. Okay. If you guys want me to do some more videos on Orisha, there's so many videos out on Orisha. I just keep thinking, like, you guys may not necessarily. I want to make videos that you guys are going to be like, yeah, there's a video. We want to watch that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. But there's so many videos out on Orisha that I oftentimes question. Um, what my slant would be. And so I want your comment. This is really important because I've been asking myself this question for a while. Would you guys like to see some videos where I talk with you and share with you my relationship and how I deal with Orisha and how I feel them, how it impresses upon me, not just what you read in a book? This is their number, this is their color, this is their day, here are some stories, but learning about the deity from a much more intimate way so that you too can start to feel the Orisha and understand how they penetrate us. I had talked a little bit about the chakras on Orisha at one point, and someone made a video about that, which was fine, great, fantastic. However, I want to know if you guys are interested in me talking about it because it was commented in in our in our channel. But I would like to know if you would like a video on Orisha, separate subject. We talked about one, my personal relationship with Orisha, but also maybe a video or a live talk on where the rishas are. Where do they sit within us? In our environment and within our body. So if you would like that as a class, an online class to participate, I want you to write class in the comment because more classes are being recorded and I want to have an idea. Some of those topics are a little bit too advanced for some people who are on the channel. Some people are really not interested in that. But if you would take a class on where the Orisha is in your environment, how do you internalize that? How do you feel the Orisha in your body? Whether or not you're an ordained priest, I'm here to tell you, you can feel Orisha all day long. There's certain things that the Orisha is not going to respond to if you do not have ordination, but regardless, they show up in your life on a daily basis. I get fired up talking about them. All right, so we have another question. Before I get to, oh, that was such a good one, the virtual tour. Can you do spiritual work during Mercury retrograde? I think you can. I'm a person, people come into the store and the Botanica and they're like, oh, do I need to wait for a full moon? I'm waiting for a new moon and this and that. If that is your context, go with it. But I'm a person, if I have a problem today, I don't care what's going on in the moon. I'm going to fix that problem right now. So if you have an issue, and Mercury retrograde is going on, I would say that you want to think about how to use Mercury retrograde to your advantage, right? Because different planets are in their heightened state at that point. If you have Mercury's in your birth chart and so on and so forth. So if you're a person that you're really into astrology, I would say to do some more research about that. But I'm a bang it up chick. We got a problem. We're gonna fix that right now. Mercury retrograde or not. So just remember. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. Okay, so and I also say pray through the problem. There's always a resolution. And in my world, there's always a way around the problem. And so I would say Mafetafum Elagua, Mafetafum Eshu. Why? Because those are the orishas of choice. If this direction doesn't work, go that way. If that way doesn't work, go that way. Right? There's always a way around the problem. It's always about how we look at the issue, how we internalize it, and so on. What does that person say? What was that last comment they said?
I want to let it go. You should do a course on your website.
That's a sure.
Uh, let's see. There's so many questions. Not really sure. Do I leave the candle for 23 days? We talked about that. Need overall guidance about the candle. I don't understand what that means. I've moved on from that subject,
Okay,
but
that
what
was
is
old.
okay? All right. So let's see what other questions we have. We've got wonderful questions from you guys. So these are about initiation, they're about deeper spiritual concepts. I want to just see if there are any quick ones before I get to those so that we don't go over too much time. Can I start with these?
Yeah, the dreams are all over the place.
How do you rid the hostile energy that seems to be coming from our loved ones? Well, I have to say, some of that could be a spiritual remedy, but some of it is not, right? And so, um, hmm. So sometimes we get used to being a certain way. Sometimes we get used to a certain way of being, a certain environment, certain way of talking, certain way of thinking. And if we are around this all the time, we start to take that on, right? And so if you're around people that are hostile, Well, the first thing I would do is definitely send them a lot of positive energy. And every time that I see them, I put in my mind this is not going to be a hostile interaction. And two, I would say not to leave space for that, right? If a person's coming at you and they're hostile, stop it. Smile at them, change the subject, or just get away from them. Hey, I got to go use the bathroom. I got to go use the phone, whatever. But people who are hostile usually need and they thrive on kind of poking at other people and doing things to get someone or some situation to be hostile with them. And so this person keeps putting their at whatever on the screen. I'm not really
They're
sure.
probably they're replying to somebody. They're replying
So
to
people are
somebody
having
else.
conversations at on the thread too.
Yes.
Okay. All right. It says, how do I find out who my spirit guides are? Well, you need to find someone who can identify that, who is maybe advanced, who has the gift of sight, who can read you or tell you these things. If you have the opportunity to go to a spiritual mass where they call the ancestors and call guides, that would be a good way. I don't know about an online school because you're really not with the person. You're not seeing them and picking up the vibration of guides. You can give people certain information, but one of the things I notice is that people want to hear a whole shopping list. That's not realistic, right? And I'm going to tell you why. Because spirits come and go, just like people come and go. Does that mean they go away from you? No. Certain guys can be really close to you at a certain time, and then they can go back. They can come be forward and they can go back. So the time that you're there, it could be it could be that certain guides are really strong with you, or certain guides come to speak and they come to give a message. And then whoever's reading you or speaking with you can give you information about them. But that doesn't mean that they're going to give you the 10, 15 guides that you. Thank you, Miss Cosmic Witch. I love that one. I'm going to write that one down. I haven't quite figured out what my title is, right? This is why I'm always just a Lemmy. Um, Okay, they're really having a conversation.
Yes.
You guys are distracting the crap out of me. I'm like reading their conversation. All right, so I answered that one. Let's see how much time we've. Okay, we still have a little bit of time. So, how do I? Hello,
I'm sorry.
this says or.
How do I venerate loved ones who passed away in a negative circumstance?
How do I? Okay, so we're gonna go.
I'm sorry, how do I or should I venerate? I'm sorry, Regina.
Okay, so we're gonna go into some more altar centric questions because I know Miss Botanica, I love that. Um, so we're going to go into some more advanced questions about the altar, about things like that, right? Signs of possession. How long can a fixed candle sit without? That was a really good question. How long can a fixed candle sit without something? Oh, having a hard time booking. So we're going to talk about that and mentorship at the end. Please remind me. Um, how do I venerate a loved one who has passed away in negative circumstances? I'm sorry to break it to you. You're not venerating them. Veneration says, I'm lifting you up. But if you don't know where the spirit is in their continuum of their life cycle, I would definitely check that with someone who's able to check it for you. So, like as an example, there was someone that I spoke to the other day, and they said that their father had passed. I think he passed like about 4 years or something like that. And he passed under poor circumstances. Excuse me. And let me drink some water. And they were told, yes, you can put him on the altar now. So I would say that you need to check that. I did a live, the previous life I did, personality of spirit guides and ancestors. I would definitely watch that because I do answer some of these questions about how do you deal with, come to, love, venerate people who have passed on, and so on. You guys, I put my glasses on and now I can read all your comments. I'm so distracted. I'm like, I need to keep my glasses on. All right, I'm sorry. I'm having a great time with you today. Okay, so we answered that question. And let's see what else we have. Another altar question, which is good. Latoya, she says, why are there bubbles in the water in the glass at my altar? Well, spirit travels in air. So when we see those bubbles coming around, the spirit is showing us, my vibration is here, right? Is it from one particular spirit? No. It can be from many spirits. If you only have the glass of water in front of or beside a particular spirit, many spirits, especially ancestor spirits, spirits that breathed air, you will see the bubbles going around. Remember, you heard that here. I know there are a couple people in this room who are here with me that are like, what? Did she just tell them that? How long do I leave the food at the altar? Well, if you watch the mistakes video, which I think this just went out. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? I'm going to get a little bit closer just in case. I feel like my earphones just went out. I've got another pair. So food at the altar, in the altar mistakes video, we talk about not letting things go bad. Yes, I can hear you. Okay, let me see. Let's try it again because I've got other earphones. Right now, can anyone hear me through my earphones? I'm going to come back here. Can you hear me? Yes. All right, fantastic. I love you guys. Got to keep helping me.
No change.
Great. Like, because it made that beepy sound. I was like, oh no. All right, so I would say that overnight is fine. Overnight is perfectly fine. Anything longer than that, unless it's food that can stay for a long time. Cakes, sweets, fruit. Fruit can last sometimes for weeks, right? Um, and things like that. But in terms of food that you would not go back the next day and eat, don't leave it for them. You can toss it in the garbage in the house, right? Okay. So for now, for people who have been with us on this live for a little bit, I'd love for you to try to compartmentalize your questions a little bit because once we've gone on, it's hard to go back and kind of pick up on subjects that we've already talked about. And so if someone would like me to do a live just on Orisha, I want you to mention that. But I mean, lives could be about so many things, but because videos are so short sometimes and not as intimate, this is how I connect with you guys, really find out what it is that um, find out what it is that you have on your mind, what you want to know about, what you want me to share with you, and so on. Take a drink of water. What was that about water? Take a drink of water um, at the altar. So I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm going to tell you a tidbit that I would share in a altar class. So only if you're watching the live do you get this tidbit, right? If you don't go to church, you already have holy water in your house if you have an ancestral altar. Why? Because that altar is holy. You're calling the God force to come to your table. You're calling the God force to come to your home, to uplift you, to uplift your ancestor. So you already have holy water in your house. So if you ever need holy water and you're not able to get it from a botanica, in our botanica, it's already consecrated. There's a telephone number on the screen. Already consecrated and so on. You can also take a little bit from your altar and use it a little bit. All right. Do I need to be initiated to wear alekes or orisha beads? I want to be clear. In a botanica or in a spiritual space that you would buy these, guess mine won't be seen.
I have this question already.
They have your question written down. Don't worry. Don't worry. Please talk about ancestor money. I think it's going to take some time to talk about that. I've already spoken about that in a previous video.
Somebody answered this question.
Okay. So, do I need to be initiated to wear a lekes or Orisha beads? In a botanica, they're unconsecrated. That means that you can assign whatever you want to assign to it. Just because it's blue and white doesn't mean it's necessarily for Yemoja. There are people who are in other traditions that have deities that they have other names and that they call it that. We call it Alekes in this botanica because this is a Risha centric botanica. This one is for Obatala, right? These are consecrated, more than consecrated. This one is for Shango, right? In a botanica, you're not going to see them necessarily looking so ornate or whatever, but anyone can wear them when they purchase them in a botanica. When they become consecrated, that's when they're really Orisha beads because they go through a process of consecration. Please watch my Alekes video. I made a video on the Yoruba word for beads being Alekes, in Spanish collares, and so on, right? So, yes, anyone can wear them if you purchase them just off the shelf. Okay, we talked about that. I'm going to leave that one for a minute. Okay. So Clara asks, can you or should you put an obituary on a spiritual altar? You can put an obituary on an ancestral altar, right? If the person is of light, if the person has not passed away through some serious um, situation that is tragic, that is, whether it be through overdose, accidents, um, where the person did not leave at a time that was in their mind the appropriate time, or they left under poor circumstances. I would say outside of that, absolutely, you can put an obituary on an ancestral altar. A spiritual altar can consider to be a little bit different because there's working spiritual altars where people do money work, love work, different kinds of manifestation work. And now that I brought up the word manifestation, I have a question here that was here from earlier in the live. So the question, which I thought was a very interesting one, I'm sorry, before I go on to that, because once I start talking about that, we're going to get away from the ancestral altar stuff. So Marcus J says, can't we just meditate within? I don't understand. I'm sorry. I apologize, guys. What does this say?
He wants to know, can you just meditate within to connect with the ancestors, or do you need an altar?
Says, can we just meditate within to connect with the ancestors? Do we need an altar? Well, if your ancestors are people who are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 generations back, and you've never met these people, it's going to be harder to connect. That's the first thing. And the second thing is it's really important maybe to watch my altar videos, the one for must-haves and mistakes, because I talk a little bit about the purpose of the altar, right? And so the first answer to your question, I'm going to give a little bit of an extended answer is if you are good in visualization, You have a keen sense of hearing, keen sense of spiritual sight. Absolutely, you can sit anywhere and meditate and focus on the ancestors. But remember that that is like a snippet of time versus when you have a space that is the satellite for the ancestors, then they know all the time. This is my spot right here. This is my spot. This is my spot. This is my spot. This is my spot. This is my spot, right? So I would say to you, yes, can you do that? Absolutely. Will you get the fullest benefit? No, you will not. Why? Because how do you give them food? How do you give them life force? This is why we give them food because they take in some of the things that they had when they were alive, right? And so I would just say keep that in mind. But if you're really good at connecting, seeing spirit, hearing spirit, connecting with them, absolutely. You can send we send prayers to them all the time. Okay. So getting ready to see how much more time we have together. Follow up. Okay, so it says here follow up. For death that could be considered as be a problem, if you will, by cancer or heart attack considered a negative circumstance. I would say that that is kind of in the middle because there are people who become ill and they don't want to leave. They're leaving kicking and screaming. And so they in turn will not transform because they're kicking and screaming, leaving, right? Versus coming to a place of acceptance with whatever their condition is. A heart attack can be a situation where spirit will also hang around because they're not ready to go. If the spirit is accepted, this is what's happened, this is now they've transitioned, it should not be an issue. Remember, I said if you have a way to be able to check this or someone to check it with, when in doubt, check it out, right? But I don't think that illness, again, I said, is kind of like in the middle or a heart attack or something like that. Can someone steal your Ashay? In my world, I don't believe that can happen. Why? Because Ashay is something that you're born with. Ashay is life force that you come to earth with. Ashay is what made you come to earth. Ashay, that is Ashay. If you are an artist, that is Ashay. If you can cook, well, that is Ashay. If you can sew well, that is Ashay. I'm sharing my Ashay with you right now. You're sharing your Ashay with me. So people can do things to try to mute you, but I'm here to tell you nothing stops God's work. And you are God's work. So that person has their own ashe. And if someone actually took the time and energy to try to do witchcraft or any kind of negative work to pull away your ashe, they're indirectly stunting their own growth because they're not building up what they have. They're busy looking at you, trying to grab what you have. So I tell you, in my world, the source has given you Ashe, and there's nothing bigger than the source that I'm aware of. If you know, call me. I want to meet them, see them, interview them, right? So, but when you talk about, if you want me to do a live on spiritual vampires, comment below. Spiritual vampires are a little bit different. But can someone steal your Ashe in my world? No. In my view, no. But maybe someone else has a different take on it. Love to hear it. I'm always open to learning, always open to growing, right? Let's see. We're almost done. Brrr, let's see what else. So,
These were just the two general questions. But those were a lot of stuff was about dreams and how to tips for interpreting or
I have to
those
put
were
out.
my
I have a video on dream interpretation that I did, and I had taken it down, and blah blah blah. So may put that in again. But I would say about dream interpretation that's based on your context. Some people's context has to dreams can come to you based on your lineage. Dreams can come to you based on your spiritual makeup. dreams can come to you based on how you look at the world. So your guides will use how you look at the world to give you information. Example, I love to give examples because I remember when I first came into the faith, they would always give parables. And I was like, what does that mean? How does that apply to me? All right. So I love to give examples. So in a dream, someone can see a dog barking. And oftentimes, aggressive dogs can be thought of as being negative. If you want me to do a dream, like, talk about maybe some highlights of topics on a dream video, that's on my list, but comment below. So you can see a dog barking in a dream, and that can be thought of as negative. It could be an enemy, it could be negative work, it could be things like that, right? But someone else in their context, if they're from a Muslim background or they have an Asian background or whatever, they could say, dog barking is a warning. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out, right? Again, as I said to you before, it's also based on your context. There are some general things across the board with dreams, but you want to also keep that in mind that some of it is based on context, some of it is based on your own program. Remember that your guides and your ancestors know your program, they know your background, they know how you were indoctrinated into life. So, how you see things, they have to use that information in order to give you information. There are thousands. I mean, there are thousands of books on spiritual development. I did a video on your spiritual journey. I think when you say spiritual development, it depends on, are you talking about Orisha? Are we talking about just general spirituality and so on and so forth? So maybe in the comments at some point you can be a little bit more specific what that looks like, and maybe we can address that in another video. Thank you for the question. All right, so let's go on to answering a few questions that people ask quite often. And I've answered some of these questions in a few videos, but this is maybe a good time to kind of get into that. So, just as a little background about me, I've been doing this kind of work for over 20 years. And I deal with children, teenagers, adults, people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. I've, I've had clients, I still have a couple clients who are in their 90s, people from all over the world. Doesn't matter if you speak English, you don't need to speak English. I have quite a few people who have translators when it's time to have readings and sessions like that. I like to tell people as it pertains to my readings, I'm a straight shooter. I'm going to tell you straight how it is. Bam, bam, bam. If you don't want the truth serum, I'm not the person to like to be really, really honest. I like to be really open. I, I, I really am in touch with people. I'm never here to disrespect you, to put you on blast, make you feel uncomfortable. That is not my way of being. However, I believe that the only way that we shift things in our life is to kind of hear those blaring truths so that we can look at that and that we can take that to work on our life, right? And so in readings, I love to do readings. I don't do them as often as I would like because I can't do videos if I'm reading all the time or doing lives with you guys if I'm reading all the time. So one of the things that happens a lot is people say, "Oh, I can't get an appointment." And I apologize for anyone ahead of time if your reading has ever been canceled, it's ever been late. I'm one person, I have one mind, two hands. My best. This thing keeps beeping in my ear, so I'm feeling like it's almost time. It says was timed out by people are timed out. What does that mean?
No message deleted.
Okay. So I want to say ahead of time, try to do my best.
if I can, sometimes if a reading is changed, I'll go back in a couple of days and I'll call the person and say, hey, are you available? It says battery is low. It says battery's low. So we're going to wrap up. We've been doing this for an hour. And so I want to say, for mentorship with me, I have a questionnaire about, if I send out the questionnaire to 50 people or 100 people, I maybe get 20 or 10 of them back. I'm very, very specific about mentorship. However, I am going to be working on sharing some classes with you guys to help you from a group perspective in getting mentorship um, tools that I can give to you generally. But I'm only one person, and I've been mentoring people for quite a few years. And again, I have children, adults, husband, wives, families, and I only mentor people who, and I say this respectfully, I only mentor people who know something about what they want. They can tell me something about what they want. They know how a mentor can take them from point A to point B. If it is, oh no, I'm not, I'm just kind of figuring it out, I'm just kind of getting involved, unfortunately, I'm not the person for that part. But I do have people that can help to get you to a place where you're ready to really work with me. And so I thank you. Definitely, I thank you. I'm humbled that you even see me as someone that you would like to mentor with, and I appreciate that. You can always send emails to us, but always, always in the title, you must say mentorship so that it's easier. In our website, there's going to be a link just for that, where it's going to be easy for you guys to reach me and we can interact. We've got a lot of great things going on, and I can't wait to share them with you guys in the upcoming months. Schedule a reading. That is through my website. In my website, Yeyeo.com, it says very clearly how to schedule a reading. It has a calendar. It says when the calendar is open, when the calendar is full, and so on. People continuously ask us where we located. Well, it says it in the description in our video. If you go to Yeyeo.com, it tells you our telephone number, address, everything, like most businesses. But we are located in New Jersey, in Newark, New Jersey. Then it says, do you initiate people? I've initiated many people, people of all different Orishas. So I've initiated people in Palo Mayombe, in Voodoo, in Orisha worship, spirituality, all different things. And so I'm very thorough. I believe in the work. I love the work. This work has saved my life. It has uplifted me. It's uplifted my family, my loved ones. And so if this kind of world, this kind of spiritual world is for you, you will be transformed as well. So yes, I do mentor people, and I definitely do initiate people. So I hope that today was really enjoyable for you guys. I enjoyed being with you, enjoyed sharing with you. I loved your questions. And if any of you want to participate in any of my upcoming trainings, definitely in our replay or in any of our videos, we have a link there to become a part of my exclusive YouTube channel list, where you can be a part of that list and find out any trainings. We're going to be having also some live in the store, and those may be online so that you could at least watch, even though you're not here in person, but I know you're here in spirit. So see you next time. Ashay, ashay, ashay.